Good morning. I'm going to do a quick video on equipment and stuff that we get and that we use in the hope that it might be helpful and useful to you, but it's not definitive, and if you find better things then please let us know. First thing is a crate. This is about 36 by 22, 24, and we'd recommend you get one with a door in the side and in the front. This one's huge, which is useful for us, but most people don't have as many dogs as we do. But if you get one with the door in the front and the door on the side, you'll find one day you will use it and you'll be glad you did, even if it's only once or twice in its lifetime. If you have a dog in a car, we'd really encourage you to either crate it or put it in a harness. If you use a crate, you can put this in the car while they're smaller, and if you put it crossways, then the maximum distance they have to stop is from there to there should anything happen, and also everything is self-contained in there. And if you have a gate in the front and the side, you can sit there even with the door open if it's around the right way, and you can sit in the back and reassure the dog or do whatever needs to be done. In terms of beds, this is a Orvis bed, which, even though it is slightly chewed, it is a chew resistant one, but they love it. These are George Barclay 1, 2 and 3, which are good, but they're not made as well. As you can see, there's this one, they're just demolishing that one. That's a George Barclay as well. That one's lasted a lot better. And then in here we've got another, that's another Orvis one, like the sofa type thingy, and I actually love that one. So Orvis is not cheap, wait for the deals to come, but they are good. Next is a bowl. This bowl will be big enough for adult dogs. It's 8.5 inches diameter, which is about 22 centimeters, something like that. But what we would recommend you do is get the non-slip one as well. If you want a water bowl, then get a bigger one might be easier and more useful. We tend to buy the stainless steel ones because we find that they're easier to keep clean than the plastic ones. So dog bowl. Doggy poo bags, I'm going to put this in simply because these are the best that we find. These are the Wilko, the red ones. You can get them on a roller or in a bag like this. These are slightly thicker, and 9 out of 10 of them will work fine. The others tear a lot easier. Occasionally get one that's bad in this, but these are the only ones that we use. By far we find that these are the best. This is an easy dry dog towel, with this is a bit like a chamois. We just wipe them, takes the worst of the dirt off. You can rinse it under the tap. We have a few and we just sling them in the washing machine, put it on a 30-minute wash. And this size is medium. If you get the large, the small one would be too small. The large one is double the size and it's very thin and it doesn't work as well. So we would recommend you get medium, which is 68 by 43 centimeters. So that's an easy dry dog towel. You'll find that you won't need towels hanging about the place, making the place smell, etc, etc. Dead easy to keep clean. You won't regret getting one of these. We tend not to use lead collars, so our dogs do have collars, obviously. We've just changed to these collars because these have a breakaway facility, so that if they're playing and they get, we had one when we were in Spain in the jaw, they got the tooth caught in the collar of another dog when they were playing and got stuck and they were crying and they were both panicking, whereas these is just a quick release mechanism, and occasionally we find the collar lying about the place. If they were to get caught in a branch or something like that, then dogs do die from this, and it can happen. I'll put a link to this. These come from, this is a pet safe one from Wrexham, I think it is, and we get the 2 different sizes. So Chase, he's got a bigger one. I'll put whatever size it is in there that we bought in the links, but don't get any smaller than that. And on this as well is the dog tag, which has the address, which I'm not going to put onto YouTube on the one side and phone numbers on the other. By law they have to have a tag, and some people debate whether you put the address on there. We put our name, we put the address on it, simply because if the dog is around in the area and says, oh, it's, you know, we're on this road, oh, it's number whatever it is, I'll just pop the dog around there, which has happened with Tyson when he went chasing a deer and ended up, well, I think he got spooked. They were shooting up there and he frightened him and he ran off. Anyway, so you do need these. I'll put a link to this because very often they can fade, whereas these have been in the washing machine and they work really well and they haven't faded. These are the ones that we've lasted the longest. The other thing we find is that the hole will wear and it gets very, very thin, and if you're not careful you can lose them. These tend to last a bit better. All I do is, if I can see it happen, I'll drill another hole so that we get more use out of it, but I haven't needed to with this style. We have collars around the house and that, but when they're out walking we use what's called a perfect fit harness. So when they're very small, they first come to you, they won't be going out straight away till they're 12 or 13 weeks old, depending on what the vet says in your area. And I would get a fairly cheap small harness for them to use, because they're only going to use it for a couple of weeks in reality. Whereas the perfect fit, you've got quite a bit of adjustment on it with the sides and that, and it just, you know, fits around them so that the head comes through there. That's around the body, so you can fix the lead. This is on the top of their back and this is on their chest. The idea of this is that when you're training them, if it's on their chest and they pull, you can pull them towards you. It kind of alters their line of sight and where they're going. And when you've got multiple dogs to walk, so that's the same. So that's a 20 inch and that's a 40 inch. But they will ask you for the measurements of your dog and that when you're trying to order them. We order out some Rainbow dogs. There's other places you can get these from. The Easy Dry is Amazon, and the Wilko one, strange enough, is Wilko. But with these, if they do pull, because you know I usually walk 4 dogs at a time, and they will eventually pull these out. But you can just change this piece, so you don't need to buy the whole harness. It's just that one piece, and you can sling these in the washing machine. They wash up fine. Don't need it right now, but so the big one will be too big for quite a while, and this one will last you quite a while. It is more money, more expense, but you know what's the price of a life of a dog. For when they're out in the dark, we use these collars are by far the best. They're called Luchty collars, and inside here there's 2 AAA batteries, rechargeable batteries. So you get different ones. The top of the range is like a USB one, but for us that won't work. The bottom one, it isn't as bright a light, and it just fades. Whereas with these, when the battery starts to go, they'll start to flash. So then you can change the battery, and so I just have a rechargeable AAA thing in the garage, take some charged ones out, put them in, and then just recharge these so that it, you know, takes minutes. The only disadvantage with these is that they get different colors as well. The white one is really, really bright, and if you've got a headlamp that you're using, you'll find that you'll need to turn it to a brighter light when they're walking beside you, because it can be quite dazzling. The blue's a bit dull, the green is brilliant, the orange is brilliant, the red is good, and they have a mauve one, which is really good. But the only reason that we don't use these all the time is because some dogs, like Megan and Millie, will play and they'll grab hold of the collars and they end up damaging them. But if you don't have as many dogs, then I would go for the Luchty ones. But we go for these then on the dogs that will bite and chew, and these are Masbril collars. And again, they're charged by a USB thing. You get different settings on there, and we bought 3. One of them stopped working, but I'm not quite sure that's entirely the fault of the collar. But these work well for us for dogs that chew. So thinking about it, we have This is the headlamp ones that we use, which is called a Petzl. Just different ones, and again, recharge 3 AA, AAA rechargeable batteries in there. You can have them on infrared or different settings. I find these durable. You can drop them. They work well in the rain, in the wet, and we've had ours for years. And so that's the Petzl make headlamp torch. Works really, really well. In terms of coats, again, everybody has their own preference, but for a really good waterproof coat, this is called a Keela, K-E-E-L-A. A lot of the rescue services use them. This is a third one, Keela. So this is the third one that I've had, and I honestly find this is the most waterproof thing that I can get. This is the Munro one, and this morning, absolutely thrown it down. The whole time I was walking, coat soaking wet by the end of it, but I was still dry. So they do have different styles of coats, but again, personally, I think you get what you pay for. In terms of leggings, honestly, I bought this for the farm, but this is a Dickies one. It really does work well. So if I'm walking where it's muddy, I tend to use the Dickies one. If I'm walking where around the road, I tend to use this Burgos one because it's a lot cleaner, and this will last longer in the wet than the Burgos one. But for what we do with the dogs around the road, so I'm keeping this a bit cleaner. So a lot of the Dickies stuff is actually really good. So I've got a thick winter Dickies coat and a thin summer one, and yeah, they work pretty good. But for the rain, Keela, we've tried, we have tried different makes, and there are good makes out there, but this is the one that we keep coming back to. This will last a year, 18 months. The thing with these is you can wash them, but do not wash them with fabric conditioner. And we've started using non-bio washing powder for the dog beds and stuff like that. I'll check on whether we should be using that for these or not. In terms of gloves, I really like these sealskins ones. They're kind of a woolen material, but they are really waterproof. These are quite warm, work really well. Yeah, they don't like dogs chewing them. These are meant to be good for touchscreen, but I haven't found that works and lasts particularly well. But I like these as well. I think these are, yeah, I can't remember what make they are, but I'll put a link in. But I find these ever so good. The touchscreen work really well. They're fairly warm, really decently waterproof. I wear these over these now. Got more dexterity with these. They just, yeah, I really, really like these. Even being chewed a bit by the dogs. So I'll put a link into those if that's of any use and help to you. With the this is like a potty pad for the dogs. It's called a paw hut one, and you can take this out and rinse it. The older ones have got another piece in there, whereas this now drains into there, and you can just drop that and deal with that. And but we'll be putting this in with the puppies to try and encourage them in their toilet training. But bearing in mind we don't want them to get stolen, so the dogs will be inside a lot more, whereas in other years they've been outside. And so we tend to put this in just before they go outside, and then they get used to it and go on the AstroTurf, and so we're not quite sure how it's going to work with the puppies being inside the whole time. But this is a paw hut thing, and again it's about 2 foot by whatever, and so that might help you in your toilet training stuff. So that's all I've got out on display. I'll put links in. Any other questions or any opinion you'd like on something, ask, and we will let you know. But I hope that's of use to you. Thanks then. Bye.